I know for a lot of you guys, you know, the really shy Korean girls and stuff. This is part of the trip that you guys are probably enjoying the most. But luckily for you, we have a world famous coach in public speaking who's going to come up and help you guys out right now. Let's give it up for Joseph.
Hi, I'm Joe, and I've been an intern with KCC since 2004, and I've actually been able to go on 2 DC trips, and they've really been an eye-opening experience and a blessing. So that's why I always come back and help out as much as possible. So I'm going to go over this basic speech guidelines with you, and the most important thing is, like Ted said, not to be nervous, because you're doing it for God. And also, you'll be amazed, like on the actual day of the speeches, people aren't like, oh, no, I don't want to give the speech, you go. They're actually volunteering, because they're all caught up in the passion and everything. So speeches should be no more than 1 page with a standard margin, 14-point double space, blah, blah, blah. The most important thing to get out of that is the 14-point double space, because you don't have to memorize your speeches. You got to read it off the podium. You want to make sure that you can actually read what you wrote. And also keep in mind, some of you guys are going to be giving the speech outside, and the glare is pretty distracting. Few select interns will have an opportunity to speak at one of the main events. So you guys all want to make your speeches as best as possible, because on the day you're all going to be wanting to give it. So at the very beginning of the speech, you must clearly define your audience. And this is either President Obama, congressmen, senators, or China in general. And I guess this is just a personal choice. You can just pick whatever. And then you got to choose a topic after, and there's 4 different topics you could choose, and you probably want to stick to those 4. And then the next part is the add body of the speech and the examples of catchy phrases for the main body of the speech. That part is really up to you. You guys go do outside information, go get some outside information. This is your chance to get creative and make a better speech. If you notice the sample speeches, a lot of them don't really follow the format well, but that doesn't mean they're bad. They're all excellent speeches. And at the end of the conclusion of your speech, you just want to reiterate how important this cause is to you, and that you're going to keep fighting until KCC, until we win freedom for all North Koreans. And the most important thing is not to be nervous, just relax, just be yourself. And if you need any more help with the speeches, you guys can all consult each other when we get to DC, so it's not really a big deal. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, last year we had several of you who actually said, they came up to me and said, my daughter will go if she doesn't have to make the speeches and things like that. But when we got there and they saw the National Press Club, this and that, everybody wanted to make speeches. And there was not one person who said, I'm not going to do it, I can't do it. And when they went up and did it, it was nothing. And so when you go on YouTube, on KCC 2G, there's about 57 videos up there that actually have the speeches on it. Now, Joseph mentioned a little bit about their 3 sample speeches. And if you look at it, the one written by Gloria Kim and Jennifer Yang was actually they've been working in the human rights industry for a long time. Gloria's Stanford, Harvard, and she's getting her PhD at Georgetown. It's completely different. So in a half a paragraph, in a half a page, she put in the whole history in there. So that was just an example. And then the last one was kind of a speech which is right on point what you can do. And the purpose of why we asked you to do the speeches is because, remember, you are going to be visiting members of Congress. When you visit members of Congress, what do you know about North Korea human rights or this issue? Right now, most of you going for the first time do not know too much. When you write the speeches, you have the keynotes. When you have that, can you help our North Korean brothers and sisters? The orphans are living in the streets. They have no food to eat, this and that. That's why you're writing your speeches. And Joseph gave away a secret. It's no, you don't have to memorize it, but we ask you to memorize it. When you go on Washington, D.C. trips, there will be 3 teams of 3. So there will be 9 of you joined by about 5 others. So there will be about 15 of you. And so you're going to be in a supporting mode. And so when you have these things, when the person who actually speaks to members of Congress, and some of you will have an opportunity to meet with members of Congress and their staff, when you speak to him, you choke, the person behind you can kind of back you up a bit. So that's why we have that. And also, in your packet is this right here. And if you look on the inside of it, these are also keynotes too. North Korean refugees, women are kidnapped and sex traffickers and sold as sex slaves or forced marriages. Many bear children who are abandoned. The fortunate ones are sent to under. These are all catchy phrases. And these are things where it'd be great to memorize too. Because sometimes you will actually go into, sit down with members of Congress, and they're going to ask you certain things. And you can tell them, did you know that many North Korean women are actually sold, many on multiple occasions, as sex slaves? And they have children. But because China has the one-child policy, the girls are left abandoned. The ones have no paper, that's called stateless orphans. So that's what we're fighting for. These are things that you should learn. And also, we have a person named Charles Kim who will be joining us. He's flying in from here specifically for the purpose of training you guys for the congressional visit. So for about 2 hours, he's going to go into all the history and everything, and on those things too. So that's a little bit about the congressional speeches. So don't be afraid, and don't be afraid about going to members of Congress, because it's a great opportunity for you to do so. Also, we will have folders ready for you. So when you go to members of Congress, you will take your folder like this. Inside will be all the information on the bill. So here's the bill. Here's a summary of the bill. And you will have the basic information of what you need. Now, next, I wanted to show you a little video about what our interns, little clips of their key phrases of last year's speeches.
People of America and the American government, in unity with the Korean Church Coalition, or KCC, I am here to speak on behalf of the voiceless, our blood-related North Korean brothers and sisters.
I did not come over 3,000 miles to silently watch my brothers and sisters eat off the ground like dogs, consuming only 1/3 of what we eat every day. Children wander around the streets of North Korea, rummaging trash cans for food and shelter also. Human rights are defined as the rights and freedoms to which all humans are entitled. Shouldn't these freedoms include a sense of belonging?
Without shelter, food, parents, or freedom, these North Korean orphans are the voiceless. 70 to 90% of North Korean refugee girls and women in China are kidnapped and sold into child sex slavery, tricked into sexual trafficking, or forced to sell themselves in order to survive.
You have no mother, no father, and no one to go to for help. You go around begging for food because nobody cares and supports you. If you are lucky enough to find an underground orphanage, you'll be lucky to have 1 meal a day.
Furthermore, China refuses to recognize their existence and consequently denies them refugee status or any form of protection.
My heart breaks knowing that we have the resources and the abilities to make a difference in their lives, yet we stand back and refuse to help them. These are my blood-related brothers.
It is on behalf of these orphans that I come here and speak to you today. But I come not only from an official standpoint with the KCC, but also from a brother's standpoint. A brother who hears and reads about his family's suffering and can no longer stand still to the matter at hand. It is time for us to act, as a people and as a nation.